Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm talking to my third graders. Okay, you guys are gonna be working with mixtures today. We're gonna talk about what is a mixture, and then I'm gonna give you some examples of some mixtures, and then how can we separate them. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so what is a mixture? You may ask. I want you to start thinking about that. Mixture. The word mixture has a word in it. It says mix. Okay, so think about that. Okay, so as you're thinking about that, we're gonna go ahead and observe this real quick. I have two containers of water. All right, this one has about 150 milliliters of water. This one over here has about 50 milliliters of water. Okay, so today I'm going to go ahead and put them together. And I'm gonna stir. Stir. Okay, and now, do you guys think I created a mixture here? Remember, I put water, and then I put water onto water. Do you guys think that's a mixture? If you said no, you are correct. It is not a mixture. It is a pure substance, water. Water is a pure substance, and when you have water and you mix it with water, you get water, right? It's like when you multiply 1 times 1, you get 1, which is kind of weird, right? But that's how it is. So there is no mixture here. All right, let me do one more. This time I have sand, okay? And no, I'm not gonna mix it with sand now, because if I mix it with sand, you get sand. This time, I'm gonna go ahead and mix it with some pebbles, okay? Pebbles is basically like small rocks. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some sand in there. All right. Okay, and then let's put some pebbles in there. Okay, and let's give it a little shake. And now, what do we have here? Now, do we have a mixture? Yes, the answer is yes. We do have a mixture. Guys, whenever you have two or more substances put together, like in this case, we have pebbles and we have sand. Can you see the difference? Right? So when you have two or more different things, that is considered a mixture. Okay? Now, how can I separate this? I have an idea. I'm gonna put it in this container, and guess what? I'm gonna pick the rocks out. Separate them like this. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a faster way to do this? There is? Guess what? There is. As a scientist, we have tools, okay? We have this right here, which is called a sieve. And notice that this one has some big gaps. And then I have another type of sieve, which is a little bit smaller gaps, okay? So which one do you think I should use? Should I use the one with the bigger gaps or the smaller gaps? All right, let's try the one with the bigger gaps, because we do have some pebbles and those pebbles are kind of big. So what we're gonna do is we're going to place our sieve, S-I-E-V-E, sieve, on top of our cup, and we're gonna try to separate our rocks, our pebbles from our sand. Let's see if that's a faster way to do it, okay? So I'm gonna pour a little bit on here. Oh, as you can see, some of the pebbles are staying on top. Uh-oh, what's happening? What's happening? Oh, only one pebble stayed. And maybe it could go through. Oh, yep, it goes through. So was I able to separate it? No, I wasn't. Man, how can I separate this? Is there something else I can do? Right? Yes, use the smaller one. Okay, there is a smaller one, like I said. And in science, or whenever you something doesn't work, guess what? You try something else. And in this case, we have a smaller one. If this one doesn't work, then we can try an even smaller one, okay? So we're gonna do this by steps. Same thing, you put your container and you put your sieve over it. And now let's try and pour some in there. Let's pour our sand. Okay, and then of course, you give it a little shake. And guess what? Did some of them go through? No, none of them went through. What does that mean? That means we have successfully separated them. Now, let me talk about what happened here. Did the sand change its properties? Whenever I mixed the pebbles into the sand, did the sand turn into something else? Did the pebbles turn into something else, or do they still look like rocks, pebbles? Yeah, so nothing really changes when you mix them both. This is called a physical mixture, okay? Is when you combine them, it's a physical change. So there's really nothing that happened. The only thing that happened is that they were combined together, okay? So when you mix them, and which I did, and now I'm able to separate them, nothing really changed. Nothing really changed between them, okay? They're able to maintain their physical properties, okay? So now, if I was to add my pebbles into my sand and some seashells, what does this look like? Whenever you go where? Exactly, to the beach, right? So whenever you go to the beach, this is something you will find, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a mix. And now, let's try it one more time. Okay, now this time, do you think we should use the big one? Or should we use the smaller one? All right, that's a good question. So let's go ahead and do the smaller one, because guess what? Last time we used the big one and it didn't work. So let's use the smaller one. Okay, now I'm gonna add the same mixture once more. Uh-oh, making a mess. So guess what? Is it helping? Am I doing the right thing here? It looks like I'm not, right? So maybe this wasn't the good idea. Let's go back to the drawing board. Okay, and again, the fastest way to separate it is my goal. So now, because I have bigger items now, right? Like a bigger shell, as you can see. Okay, they are bigger. I am gonna need a bigger sieve. In this case, I'm gonna use the bigger sieve. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. And now some of the pebbles are going through, as well as the sand. So now we're able to separate the large pieces from the smaller pieces, okay, based on their physical properties, which is size. The larger pieces are staying at the top because they cannot go through the sieve, and the smaller pieces like the sand and the tiny pebbles are actually no match for the sieve, and they just go through very easily. And as you can see, I'm easily separating my seashells from my pebbles and my sand, okay? So most of the pebbles have gone through. I do have a couple that are still standing here. Okay, So I separated this, and we all know how to separate this, right? Using a small sieve, okay? And we will separate that later on. But yes, now you're left with some shells. The shells have different properties as well, but they are all seashells, right? And because they're all seashells, you can group them together in one group. What you can also do is sort them out into two groups. What two groups do you think I can separate them? Do you see some seashells that are different? Do you see some seashells that may have the same shape or the same size or color as the other seashells? Remember, right now, when you separate them, they have to maintain their physical properties, okay? So, for example, this seashell looks round and has a pointy section on it. There are other round ones with the pointy section on it. So I'm gonna be able to separate those, and I'm gonna put those in one group because they are similar. Now this one right here looks like a seashell, like the shell from the gas station, right? So this one goes into a special group by itself as well. And I have several of those, okay? And finally, oh, I missed one over here. Finally, here's another round one with the little pointy stick. Oh, these are actually a little bit different. And finally, we have these with the little tip on the top. Okay, so all of these go separate. Okay, so we have 4 different groups. And within those groups, you're able to separate them maybe by color, right? And you can do this or not, but it's really based on their properties. Properties that matter. Remember, the size, the shape, the color, the way they look, the texture, okay? All right, so this is one way to separate them. Very good, guys. We have one more to do. And this is gonna be a simple one, but sometimes when you go, sometimes when you go fishing or you go to the beach, there may be some metal inside the beach, like on the sand, or that could be dangerous to humans. That could be dangerous to animals. If you step on it, you could cut yourself. You step on it, you could get hurt. So we use these things called metal detectors, and we detect metal. Hence, for the name metal detectors, we detect metal underneath the soil, underneath the sand. So in this case, we're going to use a special equipment called, you got it, a magnet. Okay, we used magnet before with other experiments, but this time we're going to use it with separating the metal that's inside, which is going to be a paper clip. And if it is attracted to the magnet, what does that mean? It is magnetic. Very good. If it's magnetic, it has to contain iron or steel, correct? All right, so let's go into it and separate. All right, so as you can see, I can easily separate the two. The paper clip quickly was attracted to the magnet and really made it super easy to separate versus me having to use my hand to separate them. Look, it takes me a long time to separate them, the sand from the paper clips. But if I use a magnet, which is my science tool, okay, all I have to do is put my magnet in there, shake it a little bit, and now I separated all the paper clips from the sand. And notice again that they maintain their physical properties. They're still magnetic. Just because I mix it with the sand doesn't mean like you remove the magnetism. No, they're still magnetic, okay? So what have we learned today, guys? So we learned that a mixture is when you combine 2 or more substances, for example, sand, paper clips, pebbles, and sand. And there's many more that you can think of. Okay, for example, cereal and milk, that's also a mixture. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and review. Okay, those are the things that you guys that we come up with. We can come up with. There's many more, but we're gonna go ahead and finish the lesson off by saying that if you have two or more substances put together, okay, and their physical properties stayed the same, that means that the magnetism stayed the same. So whenever I had the paper clips in there, they were still magnetic, even though they were in sand, still magnetic. So their properties stayed the same. The color and the size of the pebbles, they stayed the same. So nothing changes when you mix them together. Okay, that's what a mixture is. Okay, two or more substances put together makes that a mixture. Okay, guys. So I can't wait to see you guys in the lab next week, and we're gonna go ahead and practice some of these tools that we talked about today. Okay, guys. See you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.